Good evening, friends. Welcome to today's session. This is part of NAPM River Forum's monthly sessions that we have every month. Usually, every month we have it on the 25th, but this time, because just next week there is a large national conclave of ecological justice and rivers that's happening in Karwar, North Karnataka. So, just this month we have it on the 23rd. Otherwise, every month we have it on the 25th. Those of you who've been following this series must have noticed we've been doing a series of sessions over different months. In some of the previous months, we had speakers from Jammu, we had speakers from Pune, where they've been speaking and sharing about the experiences of the river related issues or riverine fronts in their states and their cities as well. This month, we are doing a dedicated session on the Musi rejuvenation issue, and in particular also on the proposed Musi Riverfront project. As many of you would have been noticing and following the news, Musi is all over the news, especially in Telangana. It's headlines because it is also the pet project of the Chief Minister of Telangana. But it's also not something new. For the past 3 decades, as some of our speakers today in the session will share, for the past 3 decades, this issue has been constantly different governments, different political parties have tried to bring up the Musi issue. Just that this time, the whole scale is of a much larger and more scary and worrying level. But there have been people's movements and protests in since the 90s, in fact. And Bilal Bhai is here, so he'll also share a bit about that. Our other friends also will share. There have been people's questioning and responses to government's proposal. There have been evictions many times in the past, and even recently, after this government had come, also Congress government had come, also there have been evictions and people have been displaced. So that is one part of the story. But and the government. I mean, the whole question of displacement itself is very, very severe and problematic. But there are many, many aspects to the whole planning and conceptualization of riverfronts. मतलब एक पूरा नदी को किस प्रकार से देखना चाहिए और किस प्रकार से उसका नियोजन और संरक्षण होना चाहिए, उसमें बहुत सारे पहलू हैं. तो एक हिस्सा है लोगों का आजीविका और उनका वहां पर जो घर है, खेती है, और बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है जो नदी का प्रदूषण होता है, नदी का नियोजन किस प्रकार से होना चाहिए, जमीन का पूरा लैंड यूज पैटर्न्स किस प्रकार से बदलती जा रही है. तो बहुत सारे पहलू है. इन टुडे सेशन वी विल टॉक अबाउट सम ऑफ दीज थिंग्स इन मच डिटेल. वी हैव four panelists with us. Two of them are from the community itself. As we go to each of them, I will also briefly introduce them. Bilal Bhai from Human Rights Forum and NAPM, Vishali from CARSED, which is an organization of the affected people. Bilal Bhai is also from one of the affected communities, and CARSED is also an alliance of people who are affected by the Musi Riverfront project. We have Dr. Dunti Narsimha Reddy Garu, who has been a public policy expert and has been writing extensively on many ecological issues, institutional governance issues, and of course also on Musi and how the whole rejuvenation should happen or should not happen. And then we also have Akhil Surya, a young lawyer who's also part of Najar and NAPM, and who's also been quite active with the movement. And there are many other friends here, including Sajja Garu and Kamal Garu and many others who are part of the Musi Jan Andolan. That's the current phase of the movement. There have been previous phases of the movement as well. Chhatri, Musi Andolan, different phases. Right now, in the past 2.5 years, there's a comprehensive movement called the Musi Jan Andolan. It is an independent non-party movement, and basically the idea is to protect both the river and also the rights of the riparian communities, the people both upstream and downstream. And in the past year and a half, ever since this government has come, of course, even the previous government, the BRS government, set up the Musi River Development Corporation, and they tried in certain measures to push the project. But it is in this particular government's reign that the project is being really rammed through, and they're also trying to get major international funding. There are lots of questions around that as well. Very recently, on the 13th of March, in fact, the Chief Minister and the Managing Director of MRDCL also made detailed presentations. Of course, it was in a huge hotel, Taj Krishna Hotel, that we as Musi Jan Andolan took an in principle stand not to participate in. Of course, we spoke to the deputy chief minister at his invitation. A huge delegation went. Some of our friends will share some more insights from that also. And we made very clear what our stand is, what our approach is towards river rejuvenation. So there is, on the one hand, the government, even today, in fact, in the assembly, the chief minister tried to say that we will take care of all the families who are affected and all. But the question is not only of housing and displacement. The question is fundamentally why displace people on such a large scale. For instance, they have issued notifications saying that 10,000 structures and 3,300 acres of land will be acquired for the whole project. So the question is why so much of land is really needed, and even then, what is the procedure to actually get going with it? For instance, in Telangana, they have completely diluted the Land Acquisition Act of 2013 and done away with the whole process of social impact assessment. So all these acquisition notices are now being given under the amended act. So there are lots of such issues that are of quite concern, and people's movements here, different organizations, whether it is Chatri, Human Rights Forum, MSI, Musi Jan Andolan, there are young people who are part of the movement, including Climate Front, and they've also been raising these concerns. So all of us together as part of the Musi Jan Andolan and many other independent experts, environmentalists, the community people, whether it is from the areas like Chadar Ghat and Shankar Nagar or from the other colonies that Vishali Kamal and all are part of, or the MPR Madhu Park Ridge area, which is also right now facing the displacement threat. There are all these colonies also that are raising these important questions. So broadly, in today's session, we will try to get a glimpse of what is happening on the ground as part of Musi Jan Andolan. And I am hoping there are also friends who joined us from other states. So they will also certainly, and some states where riverfront projects have also come up and are in different phases, because even in Telangana, they are now looking at Sabarmati in Gujarat as a good example. So what is happening there is also something maybe we should know at a later point. I'll stop here and will now request Bilal Bhai, but maybe before we go to him, we have a small video. I will request if Akhil can just share that video just to get a glimpse of some of the pictures and the protests that we've been part of. We'll just look at that video quickly and then go over to our speakers. Thanks, Akhil. So, friends, those were just few pictures of the many, many meetings, protests, roundtables, and interactions that we've had as part of Musi Jan Andolan. And if you noticed in one of the pictures, you see the police with Bilal Bhai, who's going to be our first speaker. So on the 13th, when the Chief Minister announced the project plans, first phase of the Musi Riverfront project, and the MD of MRDCL also made a detailed PowerPoint presentation. That whole day he was actually detained. There were tens of police. It was during Eid Ramzan, in fact. So he was, of course, he had access to go to the mosque and all, but the way in which the state also continues to resort to repression is something that we see. And Bilal Bhai is someone who's been a very fierce vocal voice of the communities, the working class communities. He's been part of Chhatri Campaign for Housing and Tenurial Rights, Human Rights Forum, NAPM, and has been raising people's issues. So I will request Bilal Bhai. Bilal Bhai, आप अगर है तो शुरुआत हम आपसे करते हैं बिलाल भाई, क्योंकि लंबे समय से आप पूरे इस आंदोलन के साथ जुड़े रहे हैं। तो जमीनी मुद्दे क्या है लोगों का, लोगों ने तो उस तरफ उनका घर मकान भी तोड़े गए हैं बिना सही सूचना के, और पूरा पुनर्वास भी अभी नहीं हुआ है। एक वो मुद्दा है, मगर आगे का भी, और सरकार जमीन और मकान लेना चाहती है तो वो भी संघर्ष जारी है। और पूरा लोग क्या चाहते हैं इस संदर्भ में आप शेयर कीजिए बिलाल भाई।
जिंदाबाद सभी साथियों को। साथियों, ये जो संघर्ष है, ये संघर्ष आज का संघर्ष नहीं है, ये
बिलाल भाई
97
वो
से
वीडियो
चले।
ऑन कर सकते हैं, वीडियो ऑन कर
ठीक,
सकते हैं तो अच्छा।
वीडियो ऑन करो।
वीडियो ऑन कर, हाँ जी।
जी, एक सेकंड, ये मेरे पास से वीडियो ऑन नहीं हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है?
ठीक है बोलिए। हाँ
तो ये आंदोलन, ये जो मूसी का जो प्रॉब्लम है, ये आज का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कि ये एक 30 साल से चलते हुए आ रहा है। 97 से लेके 2026 तक भी यही प्रॉब्लम है। जो भी सरकार आती है, आते सीधा मूसी के ऊपर फोकस करती है। पता नहीं ये मूसी के ऊपर क्यों फोकस करती है, क्या है वजह उसका, आज तक भी लोग को समझ में नहीं आया है। और मूसी के आसपास के लोग अभी 2026, 25 और 26 से इतने लोग डरे हुए हैं मूसी के आसपास के, कि बता नहीं सकते कि बस कब कितना जमीन लेंगा, और उसका भी कोई क्लियरली जो सो बाहर रिकॉर्ड आ रहा नहीं है। तो अभी फिल वक्त ऐसी हालात बने हुए हैं तेलंगाना स्टेट के, जो 55 किलोमीटर का जो इनका मूसी डेवलपमेंट का जो प्रोग्राम है, फेज 1 में 9 किलोमीटर, बाकी का जो हो सो फेज 2 फेज 3 के अंदर है। तो इस पे बहुत बड़ी चिंता की बात यही हो रही है कि सरकार कब कहाँ से किधर से बुलडोजर चलाएगी, कब किसी को डिटेंट करेगी, कब किसी व्यक्ति इसके ऊपर बहुत सारे केसेस भी लगाने के कुछ चांसेस भी ऐसे दिखते हैं। तो हम सभी लोग यही चाहते हैं कि मूसी डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए, मगर के मूसी के आसपास के घर को रखते हुए जो सो डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए। जो केमिकल्स का, जो कंपनीज का जो वाटर मूसी के अंदर है, उसको रोकना चाहिए। जो सीवरेज वाटर है, उसको रोकना चाहिए। ये सरकार तो इस चीजों के ऊपर तो फोकस ही नहीं कर रही है, सीधे सीधे बता रही है कि आप मूसी का डेवलपमेंट करना है, आपके घर निकालना है। 10,000 घर है, उसके अंदर 3,000 चिल्लर एकड़ जमीन है। 10,000 घर में कम से कम अगर एक घर के अंदर अगर 4 फैमिली भी अगर ले लेंगे, 2 फैमिली भी अगर ले लेंगे, तो करीब 50-60 हजार फैमिली के ऊपर की जो सो बात है। और 55 किलोमीटर का जब अगर रेंज लेंगे, तो 1.5 लाख के ऊपर फैमिलीज के ऊपर अफेक्टेड होने वाला है इसका। तो ये सरकार कहीं ना कहीं से, किसी भी तरह से मूसी के आसपास के लोगों को, कोई भी सरकार आते मूसी के ऊपर फोकस करके बस मूसी डेवलपमेंट करना है, मूसी डेवलपमेंट करना है। 30 साल के अंदर मूसी 1% भी डेवलपमेंट नहीं हुई है। हजारों करोड़ों रुपए जो है सो मूसी के अंदर डाले हैं। और जो मूसी खराब करी है, सरकार खराब करी है, लोग खराब नहीं करे मूसी के आसपास के लोग। ये पहले फुर्सत में चंद्रबाबू नायडू के टाइम पे 97 में मूसी के अंदर एक नाला बनाए। नाला बना के उसके अंदर पूरी मिट्टी उट्टी डाल के वो नाला वाला पूरा बना के पूरा मूसी का जो डिप था उसको कम कर दिया। सेकंड, रबर डैम के नाम से मिट्टी डाले हैं, मिट्टी डाल के जो सो उसको भी और उथल कर दिए, मतलब उसका डिप कम करते चले आ रहे हैं। अब ये 2000 के बाद में जो राजशेखर रेड्डी साहब का जो पीरियड था, उसके अंदर रबर डैम बनाए 2 जगह पे। एक तो हाईकोर्ट के सामने बनाए, और एक जो सो सार्वजनिक म्यूजियम के सामने बनाए। फिर उसके बाद पूरी मूसी खत्म हो गई है। अभी फिर रिसेंटली ये बीआरएस गवर्नमेंट में वॉकिंग ट्रैक जिम और ओपन जिम वॉकिंग ट्रैक के नाम से वहां पे मिट्टी डाले, वो भी पूरा बर्बाद हो गया है। 2006 में एसटीपीस के नाम पे पूरी मिट्टी डाल के पूरी मूसी खत्म कर दी है। अभी बोलते हैं कि मूसी के आसपास के लोग एंक्रोचमेंट करे हैं, मूसी के आसपास के लोगों को पोल्यूशन में कैसा रखना, मच्छर में कैसा रखना बोल के जो सरकार बात करनी है वो बिल्कुल गलत है। सरकार का सोचना भी गलत है और सरकार का इस तरीके का बात करना भी गलत है, क्योंकि मूसी के आसपास के लोग अपनी जिंदगी बहुत अच्छे से, बहुत हैप्पी से जी रहे हैं। वो लोग ना तो उनको कभी मच्छरों से परेशानी थी, ना तो कभी पानी से परेशानी थी, ना तो कभी कोई जानवरों से परेशानी थी, जैसे सांप वगैरह से भी कोई चीज की परेशानी नहीं थी। मगर अब सरकार से सांपों से और जानवरों से सबसे ज्यादा परेशानी अब सरकार से हमारे को लग रही है। ताकि हमेशा हमेशा मैं 30 साल से देख रहा हूँ, जो भी सरकार आती है सीधा मूसी के ऊपर फोकस करती है। मूसी का जो सो पुनर्वास पुनर्वास, अरे मूसी का अगर पुनर्वास करना है आपको तो मूसी के अंदर की जो मिट्टी पड़ी हुई है उसको निकाल लीजिए। निकालने के बाद उसका जो डिप्थ है वो डिप्थ पूरा बरकरार रखिए। पहले जो हो सो मैं 97 में जब देखा था तो 30-35 फीट जो डिप्थ थी मूसी की। आज जो सो 5 फीट 6 फीट भी डिप्थ नहीं है मूसी के अंदर। तो इस तरीके का जो अगर मूसी का अगर ब्यूटिफिकेशन अगर सरकार को करना ही है तो मूसी का ब्यूटिफिकेशन करे, लोग को रखकर करे और लोगों को डिस्प्लेसमेंट करके ना करे। ये मूसी के आसपास के बस्तियों के लोग का कहना और हमारे पूरे संगठन का कहना यही है। और मैं ज्यादा वक्त नहीं लेते हुए ये इस बात को मैं यहाँ पे ही खत्म करता हूँ।
शुक्रिया बिलाल भाई, हम वापस आएंगे आपके पास। जो ऑलरेडी एविक्शंस वगैरह हुआ वो भी एक मुद्दा है, तो बाद में आप जरूर उस पर भी शेयर कर सकते हैं। हम रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे विशाली से। विशाली उन्नारा।
Hi, Mira. Yes, yes, I'm
Hi.
live.
So,
I'm audible?
Vishalakshi has been part of the Citizens Alliance for Residents' Rights, Sustainable and Inclusive River
Yes.
Development. This is a new but important group of residents from various colonies that has come together, and they've also been actively engaging with the Musi Jan Andolan and have also been trying to lend solidarity to other residents in different colonies. So we'll hear from Vishali as to how they have been organizing, what are the issues that they have been facing, and their entire approach to this issue. Yeah, please go ahead. Vishali, we can't hear you.
Mira, am I audible?
Yeah, now yes, please go ahead.
As I said, my name is Vishali. I'm from Hyderabad. So I'm the
The voice is gone.
Vishali, you can try keeping your video off if internet is an issue.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, try speaking.
Am I audible right now?
Yeah. మాట్లాడండి, వినిపిస్తుంది. We can hear you. Vishali, we can hear you. We heard you just now. Can someone hear her? I'm not able to hear her.
She's not audible.
It's not audible. Let's wait for a few seconds and then let's see. అఖిల్ ఒకసారి కాల్ చేస్తావా?
Yeah.
Hi, am I audible right now?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So I said I'm associated. One second. So I'm the founding member of CARSAT. Over the past 18 months, we are standing with the CARSAT Association, like we ensured to join the people and the river here. So our diverse agenda is to talk with people and the river over here. So actively working to help build this platform in a strong and united voice for residents along with the Musi River. So from the beginning, My focus has been bringing people together. I have worked closely with different colonies and residential organizations to ensure everyone's concerns are heard and presented properly. There were multiple handling different activities like making sure to work 360 degrees. जैसे हम लोग बहुत सारे communities को यहाँ पे join किए हैं, connecting people's legal aspects, medical, even media and political support amongst others. So during this journey, I have been involved in connecting and coordinating between different residents groups, supporting and organizing peaceful protest and even community. As of now, आपने अभी बहुत सारे slides देखे हैं, वहाँ पे बहुत सारे protest हुए हैं, लेकिन जो भी हुए हैं peacefully हुए हैं. तो हमने यहाँ पे हर colonies को यहाँ पे join किए हैं, ताकि हर residents का अपना आवाज सुन सके, उनके rights सुन सके. So working on the media communication and also sharing our stories through media, helping document issues faced by the residents and all. Am I audible, Amira?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead. And if you can also speak a bit about the zero displacement demand that you all have been making.
Yes. So अभी यहाँ पे हमारे यहाँ पे तो आजकल भी आज सुबह भी even the CM has given these details that zero displacement or the zero value of the property. So we are totally against about the CM's whatever the statements he has given. So we are asking that the value of zero should be taken back. जो भी जीवोस इश्यू किए हैं टिल नाउ सिंस नवंबर 12 से फरवरी तक हम गवर्नमेंट से ये कोशिश करें कि जो भी जियोस है वो विड्रॉ करें एंड द वैल्यूएशन ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टीज कैन नॉट बी जीरो एज द प्रॉपर्टीज आर ओन्ड लीगली. जैसे कि सरकार ने जो भी लीगली डॉक्यूमेंट्स के द्वारा खरीदा गया है, ऑल दीज आर मिडिल क्लास. यहाँ पे जो भी है मिडिल क्लास रेजिडेंट्स है, तो उनके राइट सुन सके. और उस साथ ही साथ हम चाहते हैं कि मूसी का डेवलपमेंट हो, जैसे कि क्लीनिंग हो. हम ये नहीं बता रहे हैं कि मूसी का क्लीनिंग ना हो, डेवलपमेंट ना हो. हम उसके साथ जीरो डिस्प्लेसमेंट एंड जीरो डिस्ट्रक्शन करके हो रहा है, और हमारे प्रॉपर्टीज का वैल्यू भी जैसे थे वैसे ही रहे. And what matters most to me is this moment stay.
Vishali, you're muted.
Muted or something wrong with her internet connectivity.
Let's wait for a few seconds and then.
Am I audible right now?
Yeah. Continue.
So one thing I would like to say, this is not about a river or a project. It's about people, their lives and their future. So हमारी आवाज सुने, हमारे रेजिडेंशियल राइट्स के बारे में सुने, और साथ ही साथ रिवर के साथ हम जोड़े रहे. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vishali. I think we heard most of what you said, just few parts were. But yeah, I think both basically what Bilal and Vishali दोनों ने जो कहा है वो समुदाय में लोगों के साथ काम करते हैं और वहाँ पर बहुत सारे लोगों को जोड़ते भी है इन मुद्दों पर. लोग क्योंकि अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं डायरेक्टली, उनका वही कहना है कि क्योंकि सरकार तो कह रही है कि बार बार हम नदी को साफ करना चाहते वगैरह, और कोई लोग नदी के सफाई के खिलाफ नहीं है. बट नदी का सफाई मतलब क्या है, नदी सही में गंदा किसके कारण हो रही है, तो ये सब बुनियादी सवाल है. और क्या नदी को साफ करना है तो क्या इतने बड़े पैमाने पर लोगों को उजाड़ना है, ये जरूरी है क्या, ये सब सवाल लोग पूछ रहे हैं. और इसका ऑल्टरनेटिव्स भी क्या है. ठीक है, अगर नदी का अगर थोड़ा सुंदरीकरण भी करना है, सो व्हाट रियली हैज टू बी दी अप्रोच. आई थिंक बहुत सारे इन सवालों का communities भी सवाल उठा रहे हैं, and experts also, environmentalists who've been working on this issue for long have been raising these issues and writing about it. So I'll now invite Dr. Donti Narasimha Reddy Garu. He is a public policy expert. He's been part of many groups, including the Pesticide Action Network of India at the national level. He's been part of the Council for Green Revolution, and he's been writing extensively on all these aspects. I'll request Donti Garu to please share and give us a comprehensive perspective of what are the issues involved in this entire thing.
Thank you, Meera. I think there are several issues which were mentioned already. But I think one thing we need to, all of us who are listening, are part of this, uh, current phase of movement. We need to come onto a same page because I see even now lot of gray areas within our own understanding of the issue and the problem. And that is being used by the state government. It used it earlier, and it is also doing that. So I think more number of consultations, sharings, learnings like this, I think those are going to help. And as Bilal mentioned, the problem, of continuous efforts by the government to clean Musi River began in 1997. And since now, I think almost 29 years. Uh, and in these 29 years, the problems and the issues and challenges have become more complicated. So the interplay between various factors are much more complicated, and many people, when questioned, are at sea on what is that they are expecting, including people not only from the government side, from our side as well. In fact, government has more clarity on what they want to do, and we don't have a clarity. So I feel we need to keep learning, we need to debate, and we need to share information so that we become clear on what is being discussed and what needs to be done. Now, second, I think we need to realize that there is a broad political consensus within Telangana and earlier Andhra Pradesh on what Musi River should be. So the kind of rejuvenation or Sundarikana, beautification, all that, you can see there is a political consensus. So BJP, Congress, BRS, and CPM or any other party, all parties are on the same page. But what they talk is something different. But there is a broad consensus. So you can see even today, yesterday, they're saying we are not opposed to Musi cleaning, but we are opposed to this. So there is I feel there is a hollowness in their arguments, but broadly there is a consensus. And that consensus, as Bilal rightly mentioned, is more about making money or out of all these projects. Nothing, the simplest thing is that. So that we need to realize. So when we are trying to access political parties, we need to be clear in what is that we are expecting from them. If everyone is expecting a complete support from XY political party, I think that's not possible. In fact, they lost their integrity and trust both ways. So if someone says, okay, opposition party is going to help us out, they can help as a mafia, as an organized setup, but not as a democratic structure which is trying to help people in establishing their rights and responsibilities. So I think this we need to be clear about. I have a lot of experiences with all these political parties. The third issue is again, in fact, last year we organized a national conference on riverfront projects in Kota, Rajasthan, in July. This was post, Telangana Chief Minister who went to Davos and on the the return flight he went to London, Thames, he visited Thames River. And there he declared that the government is planning a Musi rejuvenation project. So for the first time, a chief minister, a Telangana government representative, talked about rejuvenation. Until then, this word was not there. It was earlier beautification or cleaning, prakshalana, sundarikarna. Rejuvenation meant there was a lot of promise because it indicated that this chief minister is looking at issues in a different mode. So there was a lot of hopes among, at least among us. And we met the GHMC commissioner, on her own invitation, and we gave our opinion on what needs to be done. So then, from then and now, lot of water has passed, and but then the government went back to the earlier position, and that position is basically converting Musi River into a concrete channel and converting the land into commercial space and generating income out of it for the government and probably the superstructure which dominates Hyderabad, income, wealth generation, basically real estate, all these commercial properties. So today, the phase one, Gandhi Sarovar project, which is now gaining momentum as per the Telangana government's initiative, is nothing. There's not even an inch of difference between what they are proposing now and what was proposed in 97 Musi Nandadavana project. Maybe the area is different, but the overall formula is the same. Basically, concretization, drainage channel, faster movement of wastewater, and then converting the entire river bank into a concrete structure, so where tourism will be enabled and golgappas can be sold, all those things. So in 97, again, I'll like to, sorry, I'll come back to the national conference. So and in that conference, we could bring out at least 15 riverfront projects across India. So this has become a phenomenon in urban management. So Pune is there, Delhi was there, Kota itself had implemented a riverfront project. Jaipur, there are plans. So there are at least 15 riverfront projects which we could list out, and many of them came and spoke. So we had a discussion, and ultimately we issued a quota declaration against riverfront projects. So almost all the formula is the same. What Sabarmati, what they did in Sabarmati is similar, and eventually, whether there are some minor changes in the design, eventually the design comes to the same as Sabarmati. So this, I think we need to be clear about it. So why this is happening? What are the processes which are happening? Is simplest thing is there is no public consultation in all the projects. So even in Pune or in Hyderabad or anywhere, there's no public consultation process. So this is when we need to see, and now we are trying to organize another conference this year as well, so that we generate a national consensus against riverfront projects. Now, fourth issue, I think there I'll stop because I think I was given 10 minutes time. So coming to this. I've written extensively. If anyone wants, you can read through. So basically, the Gandhi Sarovar project, coming to the current Gandhi Sarovar project, I think many people have missed some of the details. Maybe Akhil is going to talk about some of them. But broadly, what we are missing is one, the river rejuvenation cannot and need not start with the river bank itself. So for long, in 2017, 18, and 2021, we organized several roundtables on Musi itself. So I have been saying, eh, if you want to clean the river or if you want to restore the river, you need not come to the bank of the river because the destruction or the degradation of Musi River is happening elsewhere beyond the immediate banks. So, if at all you want to restore the river, I think it has to be phase wise, and you can come to the river bank only at the end of it. So, at that time, if you feel there is a necessity, then you need to look at it. The second issue is the institutional structure which tries to rejuvenate or even beautify is the same as currently, whatever led to the degradation. So they are not proposing any new institutional mechanisms. And this is where we are saying we need a Musi River Basin Authority which can plan complete rejuvenation across the river basin. So not just a corporation which only accesses loans and other things. So I think this we have been saying. The third, coming to encroachments, as I mentioned in 97, the encroachments, even before 97, the encroachments were done by the government itself. Even today, government is eyeing Musi land reclamation as a source of income. So in that sense, morally or ethically, government is not different from any other encroacher of the Musi land. But apart from that, I've been saying is we now, because as I mentioned in the last 35 years, the encroachment has gone further. When we were working with the Musi Bachao Andolan on Shankar Nagar or Musa Nagar area, those are the poor people who had no other land tenure rights were not there, and they were forced to live along the banks. Uh, but now after 30 years, we are seeing instead of poor people, the encroachment is being done by the rich people and the real estate. So we need to segregate and see how we address this issue. So for the point I am saying is, can government prevent further encroachment? I think that's a first step. We are seeing, you can see at Afzalganj or many other areas, even up to Gandipet, even Himayat Sagar, new encroachments are being done by big construction firms, and they are getting umbrage. They are taking umbrage under our movement, which is trying to protect the poor people from displacement. So I think we need to be clear about it. So I'm saying we need to disaggregate this encroachment and talk about poor people and how they have been dispossessed and how they are not able to get land to live and tenurial property in Hyderabad because of various policies, including master plan. So there are many issues around that, but my point is we need to see as a civil society this encroachment as a disaggregated issue and not just lump everything into that. So there I am saying encroachment is happening, and government, if at all it is interested in Musi rejuvenation, first start with prevention. Can you prevent further encroachment? And then, as I mentioned, you need to have a comprehensive plan and see if we come to the river bank only as a last phase, because that's how river restoration can happen. So I'll stop here and maybe we can have more discussion later. Thank you.
Thank you, Narasimha Reddy garu. You've raised many important points, including the need for a river basin approach instead of a riverfront, and that's something Musi Jan Andolan has been raising constantly. On the one hand, the Chief Minister says that, and he's been saying it repeatedly, that we are open to feedback and all, but they're trying to reduce the entire issue only to we will take care of the people who are going to be evicted. But there doesn't seem to be a readiness from the state or the Chief Minister to look at the fundamental approach or the alternative approach to river rejuvenation. I will now request Akhil, who is part of NEPM Telangana, suffer social accountability for action and research, and Najar is a young lawyer who's been actively part of Musi Jan Andolan. So Akhil, I think, can give us an insight into some of the key developments of MJA, some of the key aspects that we've been raising, the key demands also. Akhil, over to you.
Yeah, hello all. I just want to start by reiterating a fact that Bilal Bhai has put forward, that we know that this project is old. It's been through many versions and many governments, and almost there is a point of singularity that all political parties today agree that some form of riverfront, some form of beautification, some form of developing public amenities across the banks of the river needs to happen. But at least recently, October 2024, the state government conducted demolitions of about 300 homes, displacing about 450 plus families. And that's the triggering point for a fresh phase of this Musi Riverfront development project. That's when it became more aggressive, because people could now see that it's either do or die, and the government is hell bent upon doing this. Other facts Bilal Bhai and Dr. Narasimha Reddy has already covered. So I'll not get into that, but I want to just share briefly about how this project is being conceptualized on the document by the government itself. Of course, from a people's point of view and from a ecological point of view, we know what's wrong, and that a principled opposition to riverfront model itself should be put about. But the government, I would say, just on a comparison of what the government has done, the past government in 2016, 2017, and what it is doing today, one can clearly see that it's become more difficult to build up a principled opposition to this, because the government has also become smart. They're also disaggregating components. They're using better vocabulary that will appeal to the general public, that it's good for everyone. And like Mira shared, these sad images of poor people living along the banks of Musi is being shoved into people's perception all the time, just to say that this project will ultimately end up helping them, without addressing some of the core questions with respect to the river itself. So in 2017, it was actually the previous government that set up a body called Musi Riverfront Development Corporation Limited. It's a company under the government, and that's when officially now we have a body that will look after Musi Riverfront Development as a project, and now we have a dedicated body. So 2017 that comes in, and just before this body is constituted, the government then came up with this grand idea of a east-west corridor. So basically, Musi geographically spans horizontally from the west of Hyderabad to east. It's a 55-kilometer stretch, and to the west of it is what phase one is. So phase one, phase two goes from west to east. And the west east corridor was actually proposed by the earlier government, and they've also prepared a AI report for the same, but it fell through because of a change in the AI regulations back then. And from then it's been a dead end. So then we have MRDCL, a separate body, more focused. MRDCL has been hiring lawyers, consultants to draft this report, present it to the public. So a lot of money is being put. A budget of 1,500 crores is allotted to MRDCL per year. So 350 crores per quarter is what they're spending on all of these activities. But as of today, it's really hard to explain what Musi Riverfront Development Project is, because nobody has seen the detailed project report. Nobody knows what the components are. apart from what the AI generated images the government is showing us in the media, in official events and all. But roughly, our work shows that there are four components to this singular thing that we're calling a riverfront development. One is there is a Musi riverfront development project itself, as in the government calls it. For this project, they're doing it only for phase one. So it's basically the start, the inception to the point where Gandhi Sarovar project is now proposed to be built. So this is the first phase, and on this, the state government, MRDCL, has written to the state expert authority for grant of fresh terms of reference for the environment impact assessment and thereafter the clearance. So as such, even here, we don't know what the components are because whatever the proposal is, whatever the pre-feasibility report that we've seen, it's all very vague. It's all that will create a green buffer zone, that will build public amenities, that will build some marquee projects, statues, and now there is a added flavor of secularism to all of this. So this is one component, and second, the quite complex one is that the government also now proposes to get a 3,000 crore rupee grant from the Ministry of Jal Shakti Union of India to ensure that only treated water gets released into Musi River. So this was quite perplexing to us also because you have a 3,000 crore project just for cleaning the river. So whatever you're doing in the name of riverfront development project is in fact, just a commercial venture. So the government itself has gone to make on that separation. And these numbers, this information, this segregation, all of this comes from the Chief Minister's own response in the State Legislative Assembly. That's when we also were able to get these numbers from a reliable source. So that's two. Three is the same east-west corridor that the erstwhile government proposed in 2016. This government is also repeating the same thing. They've already issued modifications to the state Metropolitan Development Authority master plans. So that road, as of today, is already written into the master plan of the city. And fourth, quite funny and quite baffling to all of us, is that the government proposes to lift 2.5 TMC of water from Godavari River and put in very simple terms, flush Musi River with that and hope that that will clean the river. So four large components in terms of where funding is coming from, which body is doing it. So just the Musi Riverfront Development Project, which has been at the center of getting these land acquisition notices out and just fear mongering that this has happened, that has happened. That is more focused on the commercial aspect of it. What happens on the banks, these grand projects, statues, that's happening there. And we have a Godavari lift scheme that the sewerage board is looking at, and we also have the treated water plant, flushing scheme. So the next is happening with the irrigation department, and we also have the east-west corridor, which is uh, sort of used to make this whole project appealing because it appeals to the general public also, that you cut across traffic, everything is so smart. So these four components, and the government is also playing by the hook. So they're reading the audience, they're reading the movement, and sort of picking parts from each of these four verticals they only created, and then smartly presenting it, which one works with what kind of audience. But at the core of all of this is a government order that came out on 16th December 2025. This was issued under Section 10A of the Land Acquisition Act, which was amended by the Telangana government in 2017. 10A is the basic exemption provision that I think at least 6 states have now. It basically lets the state executive to exempt a project from the social impact assessment and the food security protections in the Land Acquisition Act 2013. And what's quite horrifying is that this one GO was issued and it now marks, as of today, 10,017 structures across the city. No survey numbers are mentioned, no areas are mentioned. So it's just a abstract table that 10,000 structures will be impacted. And the total area that they have demarcated for this project is 3,279 acres. And this, even legally, what's more surprising to see is that the terminology they're using is Musi Riverfront Development Project and its related projects. So the government itself does not have clarity, and nor do people have authentic source to go through a project report or a plan and then counter the government. So it's really all in the air according to government's own admissions, and even in the ongoing assembly sessions, they're all saying that this is very much in the draft stage. We will take inputs and all of that. But yeah, one can clearly see that they've gone to the process of getting an environment clearance out. They've applied for funding. They've also approached the Asian Development Bank for a funding of 4,000 crores. And all of this is happening while the government, on the other hand, continues to claim that this is all in a very nascent stage. But cut short to people not having an authentic source to counter what the government is proposing to do as part of the Riverfront project. We had a very grand event in a five-star hotel on 13th March, where the managing director of this new body, MRDCL, and the chief minister presented a PowerPoint presentation. It was not presenting excerpts of the detailed project report or tell the people like what exactly they're looking to do as part of this grant project. It was instead a very basic PowerPoint presentation one can put through from a basic Google search. But yeah, there was some hydrology study done, some enumeration of how many lands will be impacted, how much will it cost. All of that was there, but one was expecting that when this event was announced that the DPR will be released, and then people will have an actual shot at engaging in meaningful consultations. The problem now is it's become a double binder for people also, because the government does not release anything proactively. People rely upon what's been said by officials and ministers in the assembly and in the press. People mount a response, people do a campaign, and the government then says that this is fear mongering and this is exaggeration and this is done for political aims, basically to say that you don't have the full information. So the government is withholding information, asking people to say something, putting them anxious, giving them stress, and at the same time claiming that you are speaking with half-baked information, you are spreading propaganda. So that's really a smart loop that this government has worked up. But what came out prominently for us in that presentation and this grand event that they did is that the vision is larger than it has ever been. 6,500 crores to 7,000 crore, excluding the cost of land acquisition, is what they're proposing. And this is only for phase one. So even on a rough math of into five for five phases, it can easily touch 40,000 crores just for the commercial aspect of it. This does not take into account building STPs, building effluent treatment plants, even the lift irrigation project from government to flush Musi with that pani. All of this excluding land acquisition, 6,500 crores just to build, just to fill the river with the concrete. So that's the cost they're getting at. And I'll conclude with this one thing that Chief Minister said, which was it was quite a roller coaster moment for all of us hearing it, because he went on to say how industries have been releasing untreated effluents into the river and how the river is dying. And he even made a mythological reference to say that this river is being murdered. And he said all of those things, and also went on to give a personal anecdote that Hyderabad city as a whole is facing a groundwater crisis, that one cannot get water even if you get it. It's not usable by common public. So he's done all of that. All of us were happy listening to some sense come out of the government finally, just about the river and not about the commercial aspect of it. But immediately, we don't know if it was a slip or he actually intended to say that. But immediately after addressing the groundwater crisis, he immediately switched to say that Telangana government now is in the process of getting international global data centers into the city. Around the city, they want to establish this big artificial intelligence and data centers. Google is one willing party. I think it's already signed and it's in the pipeline now. So after saying all of this about the project, after expressing his concern for the river and groundwater, finally the chief minister ended up saying that all of this will help supply pani to this global data centers that the government seeks to establish. So above all of this history, above all of this commercial angle to it, anti-people angle to it, the chief minister now admits that this project will also help supply pani to data centers from a city that's already suffering from a groundwater crisis. So this is the official language of what's being official, as in the state's language and the state's conceptualization of what it seeks to do. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Akhil. I think that was fairly detailed insight into the many dimensions of the project and what we know and many more things that we actually don't know. But it's important that people have to really, and I think what also Dr. Narasimha Reddy garu said and what you also mentioned, the government is trying to, and this is something that came up even in our interaction with the Deputy Chief Minister, that they're trying to bunch together all opposition, all questioning, and say that it is either politically motivated, it is ill-informed. There are a lot of questions that are being asked, well-meaning questions being asked by the independent movement. Yes, there is political opposition in the state, and there are different complexities around that. Some of our friends might also speak about it, but there also is a lot of independent questioning about the approach itself and the need for a project of this scale, the commercial dimension to it, the concretization of floodplains. But these are somehow not aspects that the state is genuinely trying to engage. And I think this is also to do with the fact that the larger disease of riverfronts itself that is being now projected, and there is a larger design to it. It's not limited to Telangana. We have friends from other states as well, and they have also been raising such questions in those states. So we'll go to some of them. I see here there are friends from Kerala, Maharashtra, Punjab, Meghalaya, Kashmir, Delhi, and a few other states. But before that, I just wanted to quickly request, there are many more friends from Telangana in the Zoom room who have been quite actively involved in the movement. I see Sajya, I see Usha Sita Lakshmi, Jivan Kumar Garu, Kamal, Venkatreddy Garu, and Lubna. Lubna, in fact, who's also been, I mean, she's been an environmental activist for very long right now within the Congress party, but also raising the questions. And this is just one thing I want to mention here. There are actually some very sane questions being posed by women from within the Congress party, whether it is Dr. Lubna Sarwat or even someone like Meenakshi Natarajan writing to the CM and Deputy CM asking him to restore the Land Acquisition Act and not proceed with the riverfront approach. But the decision-making authority that is largely around men with power somehow doesn't seem to really be listening to these very sane questions. So I'll request some of our other friends from Telangana if they want to make
Jivan and Lubna will speak. It's better.
yeah, brief interventions. You also, Sajjaka, you can please.
Yeah, later I will join. No problem.
Sure. Jivan sir, can you hear us? Is he there, Jivan Garunara? I'm not able to see him. Or maybe Usha, Lubna, any of you.
Meera, I am Sharad Babu. I am a plant scientist. I am also here.
Yeah, Sharad Garu. You want to go now or a little later? Huh?
No, it's okay. Whenever you have, couple of minutes, because I'm not listed as one of the speakers. Yeah.
Hello,
no,
Andy. I'm Prasad.
Okay.
I'm Prasad Jaladi. I'm an environmentalist from US also. We met sometime back in a few events during my visit to Hyderabad. Sorry to intrude. I have a submission, and I'm wondering whether this has been discussed widely in terms of developing Musi river flow, etc. And my concern is, in West, we might be talking about some models. From West, we might be talking about some models looking at, the Thames River, so on and so forth. But it is totally different story from other scenarios. For example, I live in Austin, Texas, and one of the Colorado River tributary flows here also, and it leads to a dam where they would also generate electricity, but there are no bunds built for that thing, and they have buffer areas, and there are parks aligned that are being created, public parks, including like recreation areas and the boating, etc., which we obviously here in any river thing. But my major concern is, say, we are in this global crisis, climate crisis now. The cloud burst is happening all of a sudden everywhere in the world, and sometimes that water, wherever the cloud burst happens, it may come from above plain areas also, and that flows into river, and it turns out to be a flash flood. So if we go with bund kind of plants, would that sustain, the water flow when this flash flood happens would sustain, meaning the bunds would also encourage water to overflow, and also, because it raises the level of the water also. And unfortunately, if you don't clean the river bed and, do these things, we are also allowing pollution to flow all of a sudden into the city, and the public would get affected, groundwater would get affected. It is already there. So any talk on those things popping up? And another thing that I just want to add is, even the military built water pumping systems in places like Oland also failed. Military gave up in US, not saying that this is not viably possible because of the climate crisis and the hurricane season, the water level, sea level rise, whatever it is. So we might be getting into that thing. That includes the opposite flow of flood water into the drainage pipes that we often see in Varanasi kind of cities in India itself. So I just want to prick some brains here, whether all these things are being considered or not. We're just rushing through these things. I just want to know. Thank you.
May I intervene in continuation? I had similar concerns.
Okay, Swasta. Yeah, we were just trying to get a round from Telangana Congress, but yeah, please go ahead.
But
And then
I think these interventions, then the rest of the Telangana people can respond. Yeah, I was also wanting to point out to this problem of flash floods, which we are facing even in the drought-prone areas of Maharashtra, with the improper water management system and the climate change with pouring untimely rains. So that is one concern. Another thing is actually the rivers should help enrich the groundwater, and in spite of the problem of groundwater scarcity, all this cementing is going to damage the river, any groundwater percolations. So instead of the riverfront and cementing, there has to be methods used for rejuvenation, which have been more traditional, like having the bamboo or other kinds of plantations on the bank side. And there are such examples in smaller scale in some drought-prone areas in Maharashtra. Maybe we can give you contacts later. Thank you. And the important point which our young lawyer said, all this is going to, in spite of the water scarcity, is going to go to the data centers, which is again a recent concern that Narasimha Garu and all should take up. So I was just suggesting whether there is any stated document stating the objectives of this project. If not, should we have RTIs asking for them what are the aims and objectives in the phased manner and also in the total this thing. Thank you.
Okay.
thanks,
So,
Swasta. Actually, series of RTIs have been filed. Akhila has also filed some. Lubna has filed some. Maybe when she's in a position to speak, she'll speak, and that's something that they've also been raising, that replies to RTIs have not been given adequately. So we'll come to that point for sure. I think Sharad Garu is trying to speak.
I just
Please
want
go
to
ahead.
make a couple of points actually. In the entire, can I come in, Meera?
Yeah. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, this is actually Sharad Babu. I was actually a scientist in ICR and now working for a society, science society called Plant Protection Association of India. We publish a globally reputed science journal called Indian Journal of Plant Protection. And we have been actually along with few other scientists, Suman Sahai and Dr. Soma Marla and myself, we have been struggling, for getting benefit sharing and the plant genetic resources which have been exploited by the global north. So I'm not talking about that. In the present Riverfront project, the it is completely the missing science actually. The science is not being talked about. The science is completely sidelined. In fact, the entire project is projected as actually a gray infrastructure approach instead of a green infrastructure problem. In fact, by prioritizing land acquisition and buffer zone demarcation, our bioremediation and toxicological cleansing, the policymakers have completely ignored decades of, the warnings from scientists. The scientists have been warning for, I think, quite a long, for the last few decades. I was trying to go through literature. The problem actually, somebody was talking about, of course, cleansing is, the toxins that are entering into the river basin from the, the polluting industries. Most of it is not just only pharma industries. There are several pesticide industries, pharma industries. They're actually, the effluents are coming and simply they the Pollution Control Board of the Telangana, I think TGPCB, is actually, I was trying to understand I spoke to, because I am being an entomologist, plant scientist, I have got a relationship with some of the pesticide manufacturing industries. I know that the Pollution Control Board has been actually straight away approaching because that all these industries have got now the component of corporate social responsibility, and I think, I don't know exactly how much is yearly from their profits they have to, earmark and spend as a CSR funds. The Pollution Control Board is also approaching the industries and knocking away the funds earmarked for, the science society, scientists, those who are organizing, scientific interactions and national conferences. They're not getting, they're supposed to, because when we talk to them, they are saying that the funds are being knocked away by the Pollution Control Board. And when we look at what exactly is happening on the ground, whether there are any initiatives from the Pollution Control Board, there is hardly nothing actually. There are many industries which are, polluting. They continue to pollute, and they continue to actually, without any treatment, the effluents are coming and, getting into the river Musi. And what actually these people are talking about, the buffer. The buffer is what is riparian buffer? Riparian buffer is actually the vegetation. Actually, it is not the vegetation that whatever 9 meters and 30 meters that we have been talking about. Beyond that, the riparian buffer is simply that 9 meters to 30 meters is good enough from the river, edge of the river. It is 9 meters to 30 meters, good enough. They don't have to go to 50 meters, 100 meters, which is not the riparian buffer actually. So what exactly is happening? Whatever the pollutants, whatever the, the heavy metals that are coming and, polluting the riverbed, they don't need to talk about the buffer beyond, 9 meters actually. Let me not even talk about 30 meters. And then this is, the pollution, some of the figures I tried to get into, they have enlisted something like, let me just, I have some figures. Do you have time for me to talk about those figures? I think I'll have some other occasion to talk about those figures and all that. But the problem is actually not the, it is actually, they don't talk about the missing flora, fauna restoration, soil toxicity is completely ignored. And then there is actually, we don't hear any scientific voice, the role of the committee also. Today's, I was just trying to, understand what exactly happened in the assembly today. They have actually, that the subcommittee of, the politicians. There is no representation from the NGOs. There is no representation from the scientists. There is no
Sarath
representation.
Garu, can you please be a bit brief?
Yeah. So this is what actually I thought there has to be an approach. There has to be the science behind this project needs to be understood, and then we need to talk about more science. Why this project? They don't need it. Has become an infrastructure project, and the poisons, the toxins, the silt and all, everything is going to be underneath, and they want to build pathways. So I think I'll have another structured presentation sometime later when I get a chance to do so. So this is what I'm missing. Science needs to be talked about. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are other friends. If anyone wants to make a brief intervention, there's Brother Varghese, who's been quite actively part of the movement. We have Dr. Baburao Garu, who's been the very same question that you've been talking about, institutional accountability of the PCBs and such authorities. He's been raising it for very long. There's Imran, who's in the room. So, friends, if any of you want to make a brief intervention, please do.
I'm Kona Subhash here, Hyderabad. I'm engineer, mechanical engineer. I'm pretty new to this total area, but total subject. But I think Dr. Lubna probably, as I heard few of her speeches and other things, actions, if she's there, I think she has some answers or some kind of insights into the scientific and hydrology and other related matters.
Yeah.
I think after she presents, we may have a better thought or ideas further.
Yeah, salam to everybody. If I'm permitted, I will share few thoughts now. Okay?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, salam to everybody. See, whenever the government is repeatedly telling that, talking only about the क्या बोलते हैं वो rehabilitation. So, first of all, when we are before the government, it should not be just about rehabilitation, because they will try to pacify in any which manner. So we are, and I know people are also telling that, both river and the people. So, and the river means it is not just about the banks, as rightly pointed out by all our previous speakers. There was a lot of information. I actually took notes with me. So we are talking about both the North Basin, that is flowing right from a height of about 650 plus meters down to the Musi Nadi from the North Basin and the South Basin, and also from the west from the Anantagiri Hills. So when we are talking about the river, it includes all of this, which means the entire North Basin, South Basin and its catchment area. So, and to be very, very honest, if even a single JCB is going to fall on any present first phase that they are telling, that they are talking about, we are actually sacrificing a huge natural resource, which is our asti. जो asti बोलते हैं ना अपना, it is our that big. I don't want to use that word asset. It doesn't reflect the huge thing, that huge natural wealth of ours. We are going to lose. That is the importance given even to microorganisms of that soil and of that area. Recently, I even, in one of the Musi meetings at SVK, I even showed a photo which was captured by the Hindu photographer, and that was the latest photograph of that day. If you see the huge vegetation on either sides, the natural river, that is how a river ought to be. And that is the only river that is acceptable to us. This should be our firm footing. The river should be first thing that we talk about. Then we will save our places. Then we will save all our, we can actually press a button and restrain them from coming on the displacement if we talk first about the river. And if I talk about the river, then also the government, the position that they're taking now, take it about the Aditya. Aditya is actually in the river. And after my 7th complaint, the Hydra gives, the commissioner puts a file to me telling that now they are, yes, we have also determined that what you have told is true. Because I was actually called and I showed him on my laptop everything. So 7th complaint ke baad, they responded and they told yes. So Aditya is such a corruption on the face of the Musi Nadi
Yes.
that it is an affront that you're going down to the Musa Nagar, Shankar Nagar, and you're shooing away people from there. And here you have Aditya. And let me tell you about the MPR. See, here we have to be very clear. That's why I'm telling. It is not, we are not against the Aditya, we're not against MPR, we're not against Muslim, nothing. We are talking about the river and the people. So, if you take about this MPR, Madhu Park Ridge, let me tell you, government is wrong when it is telling that MPR is in the buffer zone. MPR is actually in the river and also in the buffer, because when you calculate in the NRSC maps, I did that and gave it to the government. NRSC map, when you calculate it from the 50 meters, the entire MPR is in the buffer zone and a part of it is in the river, actual river. So these are figures that from the official that I'm presenting over there. Now, coming to the core of it, even if the one government wants to stand from the bank, from the Musa, from the Shankar Nagar, from the MPR, what we have to have in hand first is the bank. What is the width? See, this is a dynamic body, Let me tell you again, it's not a plastic chippa. It is a
Yes.
dynamic body. It has width, expanding, contracting, depths, going deep and shallow at some places. Uski marzi hai bhai, we have to go by it. So these are all recorded. Everything is there. And actually, our Hyderabad, our Andhra Pradesh, our Telangana is blessed because our previous government, before the democratic government came, there was a Nizam's government that was so scientifically going that it also hired Leonard Munn, who went into such detailed mapping that I told the government you ought to use these maps also. Why? Because at that time flooding, it is estimated that around 4 lakhs, a little plus 4 lakhs cusecs of water was what was flooded a part of the good part of Hyderabad, after which in 1908, after 1920, we had these 2 dams coming so that the city should never face that again. So the estimate has to be again that we do, if we, and Musi is a very unpredictable tributary of Krishna Nadi. So we have to have a sense in these intensive rains period and the catchment of the Musi being the Anantagiri Hills, which is Rangareddy and Vikarabad, been having excess plus means double plus, excess rains according to the IMR records. So how ready are we for it? And I told the government, even before you come to the phase 1, phase 2, anything, you have to handle the 2 reservoirs. We are lucky fellows, we have reservoirs in our city. Every city doesn't have it. So these historical heritage reservoirs, are they full? Are they actual to their capacity? The Usman Sagar, for example, is designed for 10 TMCFT. Today, if you go and look at the official figures in the water board, they are telling it is around 3.9 TMCFT. I have seen the memoirs. I have been on the dam with permissions. I have gone on the dam. I have verified. I have those official things, official clips with me. Even memoirs of Himat Sagar in one of Mr. Ranganath's meeting, I procured from the irrigation officer. So they accepted in the meeting that yes, Himayat Sagar is not up to its original capacity. Usman Sagar is not up to its original capacity. Officially, there are hundreds of encouragements inside. So what needs to be done is, first, we have to restore them by desilting them, by removing the encroachments, the land that is there. All officially, there is admittance on record of all this. So first, where should it start? What is this phase 1 going on? Where you have Aditya inside, your MPR inside, and you went first your axe on the Musa and Shankar Nagar, and then now you are telling phase 1. And what about those reservoirs? Is that not the phase 1 that you have to do? That get into the catchment of the Musi and see what is there, what's happening, how the farmhouses, where that's always in the limelight because of its lavish drug use and all that. But the main thing is that the entire catchment has gone to dogs, and you have actually, during my survey and the report that I handed over to the then TPCC president in July 2023, then TPCC president, now Honorable CM Revanth Reddy Garu, I had been asked to give a fact finding, and I did that and I presented that to him, and I told him then with all the pictures, geotag pictures, the Himayat Sagar has Nurugulu. There is froth in the Himayat Sagar drinking water reservoir. And I proved to them how Ananda Convention, how all these people are right actually sitting inside. And Patnam, who is now jumped from there to here, his lavish and whimsical home is right inside the Himayat Sagar. I told this, everything recent. These are all my recent submission, means just 1 year back maybe. I've been continuously finding out and giving all these submissions. So where should we actually go and hit first? It is a catchment area. There is a voice. You preserve them totally so that the flood waters get stored. Our drinking water is safe because we can increase. Once we increase these two capacities, we can increase the drinking water supply from this mineral-rich Usman Sagar and Himayat Sagar. But on the contrary, what are we doing? I'll come to the Gandhi Sarovar next. Gandhi Sarovar mein to it's a huge dhoka hai wo. Yeah, previous government KCR also I told, and our RR also I'm telling. We need to have a baobab tree over there. What are we doing with a huge putla? What will the people study from that putla? Some capitalist ko contract gaya and the capitalist benefit is out. That's not what we want, na? We want Gandhi's lives to be learnt by us. And we want the ecologically, the Musi to be more conserved, more private, more naturalized. So that is not happening. So and now interbasin transfer. What is the study done on that? No study is there available. When we are mixing the two, and you're going to use these floodgates as waterfalls to continuously flow water from the dam to the Sarovar. What brain is this? What approach is this? I don't see any sense or science or law or people. I don't see anything of that sort in that. The first step is cost benefit analysis before the people. Here, people, this is the cost benefit analysis. Why we are not coming up like that? That is the only way to go forward. No. What are the alternatives that we explored? And we have concluded that this is the only alternative. Was that done? No, it is not done. And why is RTAs you want me to tell? Yes, we filed RTAs because I was invited to a consultation meeting where I told upfront before Danakishore and all those foreign white-skinned fellows that we know our Musi problem and we have the solutions. Actually, I don't know why you are being hired. I told them upfront about that also. But the minutes have not been given till today. I applied RTA for the KML file so that I can put it into the public domain. The KML is not. I know the RTA, KML is there with them. They have the KML. The boundary as well as the buffer zone, it is there with them. The physical copy is there, and also the KML, the digital copy is there with them. Because it was done during KTR's time, spending lakhs and lakhs of rupees. But it is not in public domain, not given to me under the RTA. There is a preliminary project report that has been formed. I applied RTA, got the RTA, applied even for that. Even that has not been responded to. So what does all this show? And finally, when I got the official invitation for the 13th March, 2 phone calls requesting me humbly that I should be there. WhatsApp messages, to home invitation, emails. I told them only 2 things. First thing, give me the copy of the minutes of my previous meeting. You're all not giving the minutes and again you're calling me for another meeting. No, second thing is that why are you conducting the meeting in Taj Krishna on invite? It should happen on the banks of the river in an open invite. No reply as usual, but I made my point because it has to be that way. When you say Prajala Prabhutvam, it has to be that way. There's no other second about it. So what I am telling is that we have to be on the same page. We have to be on the same page when we are asking. Yesterday I pushed this in my Congress group also, that Musi is not just about the displacement. Musi is about the river per se. And what are you going to do with the river? And also, let me tell you, these microorganisms are actually referred to in the Biodiversity Act. And these microorganisms are a huge wealth, let me tell you. And by wealth, I mean not just the assets that will, these resources, our resources that will give us health, but also that will improve our economy. Because in the Biodiversity Act, it is written that whatever, if there are microorganisms that we find over there, after our scientific studies, that microorganisms can be used by the companies who are actually working on the biotech remedies and other things. So when the company gets profits, the rule in the act is that the company has to share the profits with that village, with that ward from where it has been collected. So where will that happen? When you even put a single JCB on that beautiful natural vegetation, we must together everybody visit that spot of Gandhi Sarovar where the river is still natural. Still there is that river, with the huge green vegetation on either sides. It is still like that, especially where from the dams when we are going down. So in those places, there is a huge wealth hidden over there. Where is the scope of study even if a single JCB goes there? Why is that not our wealth? Why shouldn't people recreate in that? Why do you want to create something there and tell that that is our recreation? Why? Answer us properly. Answer us well. Don't presume. And I'm telling this government, the previous government, and any government should treat the people as equals. That is not being done here. They presume that they are asking for something, so we have to give it. No, we're ordering you to do something. We're ordering you to just go by the law, go by the science, go by the sense, be democratic, be transparent. You are accountable to us. Tomorrow, when you take that loan
Yeah.
from the ADB, who is paying that loan? Who is repaying that loan of ADB? Nobody is personally doing it. We, the people, are repaying the ADB. How
Lubna
come?
కొంచెం
Yeah,
Thank you,
I'm
Lubna.
concluding. Sorry. I'm concluding. So what I'm just telling is the last point also, because see, information is knowledge. So I'm just doing some knowledge sharing. Last point. Many points later we can again discuss. The last point again for our collective empowerment. See, when they are talking about sewage, these 46 sewage plants that have come up, at various places, as a part of SNDP, that came up due to my case in Hussain Sagar. They submitted the same GO in my Hussain Sagar thing when the NGT was put a fine on the government because they were not replying. So I opposed all those STPs. I said this is nothing but humbug because STPs means a collection of laying the pipes, interception and diversion structures, and then an STP that Dr. Babura has been repeatedly telling. STPs do not treat any others like industry and other things. And even otherwise also, we don't have any proof that they have been serving the purpose well. But I am privy to this information because I've been there. I have filed a case on the Naya Killa because of its encroachment by the Hyderabad Golf Association. So there I have witnessed, I have seen how they are taking, the Hyderabad Golf is an encroacher on the lakes and also the heritage structure, and it is robbing the public waters, the waters from the lake, from the dirty water, the sewage waters, and it is treating them and allowing to flow into the Nayakila Talab, which it has made into a small pool. So I was a witness to this entire process. I have been there, I've taken the photos. They're all natural. There are many natural sewage treating also. And the thumb rule is,
Lubna, can you please wrap up?
yeah, I'm
Sorry.
concluding. So
Yeah.
the thumb rule is that any liquid or solid waste that is being generated has to be handled in the vicinity, not carried from the 630 meters height to the 500 meters Musi Nadi, then treat here. That has a lot of ecological and economic cost and bad for the people. So there are so many alternatives that are people and economic and ecological friendly. All those have been sidestepped and this process is being taken again, which is very much objectionable, questionable. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Lubna. As always, many, many important questions you've been raising. Any other friends from Telangana? I think Sajja and Usha were also planning to speak a bit later. So if you want to come in now briefly, Brother Varghese, Jivan Garu, whoever else is there. And then maybe we can also go to our Pune friends because this is also a space where we can build some solidarities. In Pune also, they've been having the Pune River Revival campaign. So I see Santosh Bhai, Amit and other friends from Pune. So maybe they can also come in.
Subhash here. I don't know, nobody else talking, but just to wrap up my point of view, Dr. Lubna presented a wonderful information and all aspects of the story. Uh, we all know different governments, whether center or state, have been doing various things to their convenience. It's a fact of the life today. And someone else also very well said, pollution control board, everybody is taking their own bribes or whatsoever stuff. So this is a fact of the life, and governments keep doing for two things: votes and then some contracts. This is also a fact of the life. So at the end of the day, if we want to go further, definitely anguish is one thing, and protest is important, and presentations, RTA, excellent works done by all the luminaries here. Do we have a counterpart in the government, because we are supposed to be at least like a 10% of what the government officials, I mean, I'm talking about technical people, to know, so that we can supplement them. It appears the other way around. So the what happens, I understand, is that the political circles take the certain decisions, the next levels, Ranganath, for example, or some other committees that the other side we have. So if we have a chance to interact with that levels in a regular way and make it a continuously developing document, that we are, these are the questions raised by the civil society and other great organizations here, and these are the answers, kind of a level of continuous interaction, then there is will be a constructive end result of it, I guess. So I maybe it is happening. I'm just new to this story. I just raised this point.
Okay, can I speak? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I saw one more
Yeah.
hand also, but yeah, please
All
go
right.
ahead.
Well,
But request all friends to be brief so that others also can share. Yeah.
well, there were three questions. One was for the first speaker. I forget the name of the gentleman. And the question is that he says that whenever there is a change in government, there is a plan to attack the Musi in some form or another. So I'd like to know if anybody else has a view on that in terms of why this is. Is it prime real estate? What exactly is the motivation for these people to always get after the river? The second question is for the second gentleman. He spoke very well about how no matter how hard you try, the government somehow willy-nilly gets his way in terms of trying to engineer the river in one form or another. So is it contracts money or what it is really no idea. But my memory, if my memory serves me right, there were floods in the Musi after spending about 750 crores on this same similar type of RFD developments. And then I believe for a long while the Musi was left alone. So can anybody give some insight into that? And what was the aftermath? What was the flood value like? How did that happen? And what have the experiences been? Has there been any loss of life or property? And what eventually made the government give up on that? And if that is the context, then why has that context not been used in court? Or why haven't we been able to prevail with that context on the administration? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Amit. Maybe Dr. Narasimha Reddy Garu also can take some of these questions. I also see a couple of other hands, so we can listen to them briefly and then go ahead. Kamal and Imran had raised hands. Please go ahead.
Can I go first? Is it fine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to avoid speaking. I have a bad throat, but I think it's a very important platform. So I just want to raise one thing is, I mean, as much as the government is trying to build a narrative that they have all the good intent of cleaning the river and the rejuvenation, I think we understand the real purpose, which is the commercial aspects of it. But I think we eventually will have to give away something, because it either might lead, and this is a strategic view I'm trying to put together, is uh, we might delay the project, but we might not be able to achieve what we want unless we work with the government. So it may only lead to a stalemate position, and we can continue to just delay whatever the n number of governments had been trying to do. And I think we should have a very clearly documented, maybe a confidential one, in terms of how we want to take this forward, and not just building a narrative that it's all for money, but also trying to engage with the government that, okay, fine, because I believe, they cannot cross the barriers of, Lubna ji or Meera ji and Akhil and all these people who have created. And I say barrier because that's probably how they see us today and all the resident organizations. So they probably also need a platform where they can engage with us. And I think maybe because they don't know how to do this, this is probably something that we should establish for them to come together and start working on it. So that's my only point there. Thank you.
Okay. Imran, you had raised your hand.
Yeah, quickly, just wanted while Lubna ji and everybody is here, Narasimha Reddy sir, everybody, that instead of actually waiting for EIA to come out and challenging that EIA and saying that it is not properly done, I think to put the pressure, it's better if we can actually do components of EIA, including flora, fauna, soil health, environmental impact assessments. I mean, environmental this thing, socioeconomic thing. I know SIA they want to bypass, but if we can actually start components, because some of us are having expertise in some components of this, if we can also distribute the work and give a little bit some sample points where we can actually keep visiting and keep collecting data. I think that will, I mean, Pune also, they did similar thing, if I remember it right. So they will also talk about it. But I think if we can start that, it will be proactive, and also it will put the pressure on the government before they actually come up with some weird EIA. And challenging that will in the courts will be a challenge in itself, and courts generally follow government's black and white things more than our contentions. So if we set it up beforehand, I think the EIA company or who are doing also will be under some sort of pressure. Thank you.
Thanks, Imran. I saw another hand, Professor Nayak Garu. Did you want to speak? If not, maybe we can briefly hear from Donti Narasimha Reddy Garu. Do you want to respond to some of the queries that have come up, sir? Or anyone else?
Yeah, I think some of them have been addressed by Dr. Lubna. Because some people have raised issues about floods, floodplain conservation. I think that's where we have been saying most of us are not aware of Musi River and its environs completely. In fact, when Musi is better protected in terms of what was done in 1908 and later. But then the problem has a different dimension, unlike other rivers, like in Mitti River in Pune or Sabarmati in Ahmedabad. So we have different features, some of which were mentioned by Lubna. Important among them is these two reservoirs with sitting at the head of the Musi River. They have been playing their flood control role for the past 100 years. And they are capable of doing that even today when there are flash floods and, high rainfall. So, but then the government is not interested in restoring those two reservoirs. In fact, they are now, in the last 5, 6 years, they have been under threat by encroachment, pollution, and government policy which is neglecting them. In fact, the previous chief minister openly said in the assembly that they have become redundant. That's a word he used, redundant. And the other part, I think Suhasri was mentioning. Yeah, Hyderabad has a very good system of had a very good system of water resource management with a series of lakes, tanks, chain linkage tanks, So any excess rainfall, even at current level of rainfall, could be handled by this system. If it stayed or it was maintained or it was conserved. So even today, if the rejuvenation or restoration has to happen, this system needs to be revived and protected from encroachment, pollution, and destruction. But then projects keep on coming up. So it's not just this river rejuvenation project, the destructive project which we have been facing or contesting. We have seen how the catchment area in Vikarabad is also being threatened by several projects. And one of them, I think, just to answer Dr. Sharath was mentioning, the very Pollution Control Board has proposed and it's running industrial estates right at the mouth of the river Musi. So Rakamchalla is the one where they propose to shift the ferroalloys from Mahbub Nagar, Vanaparthi to Rakamchalla. That means the most polluting industries are slated to be shifted to Musi River basin. And now government, for the past, of course, 30, 40 years, industries are being polluting River Musi. Now they are saying we'll shift them out of the city, but then it's still within the river basin, but with no concomitant regulation or reduction in the pollution or effluent from that. So again, there is no plan, long-term plan. There's the shifting of the industry from A to B location. So this is what we have been saying. We are saying Musi River rejuvenation does not begin this river bank. It begins with river basin restoration and revising or rewinding many of the projects which are impinging or destruction, causing degradation of the river basin, and thus creating affluents, pollution, and floods. So there are many aspects. I think we don't have time to discuss all that. Second, I think some of you have been mentioning working with the government. I think Lubna clearly mentioned how instead of just posing a legal challenge in the last 10, 15 years, many of us have been working in different spheres of influence and trying to change the narrative within the government as well. But then that's where I said this chief minister appeared very promising until just 2, 3 months back or 6 months back. But then gradually he went on to the same path which was laid by the earlier bureaucrats. So now the challenge is what to do and how to do, because unlike 1997 when Chandrababu Naidu proposed Nandanavanam, this chief minister is more informed and in fact is talking the same language which we are talking about, but then doing what they propose to do. So that is where I am saying we need to come to a more strategic approach on how to do that. Coming to legal, I think some of you mentioned legal challenge today, unlike 30 years back, will fall flat because we are already filed several cases and those cases are still pending or not coming up. And the entire judiciary in India has transformed itself in the last 10, 15 years. So today I don't see any hope of getting anything from the legal code except going on a technical issue, a very sharp point on which we want a judicial clarification. But apart from that, we have been saying that people's movement is what is going to make the difference. It made the difference earlier when in 97, most of you may know, Chandrababu Naidu was equally dictatorial and he used the police a lot, but still, Musi Bachao Andolan, we could do a lot of people's movement. So here, who are the people who are going to come to us? The first thing is why Musi rejuvenation? I think that's settled. Both sides, we understand why it has to be done. I'm not going into detail. What is a question? The government thinks this is the Sabarmati model is the answer. But that we have been contesting for long and everywhere, not only in Hyderabad, everywhere we have been contesting. And then the question of how. Coming to that, that is where we need people to come in and people to become aware and come and participate so that the river restoration becomes a people's movement. But then the beginning is who are these people? I think like 30 years back, we faced this question, and today also we are facing this question. So it has to be the people who are living along the banks of the river and whose livelihoods are linked with the river. Only those people will come. The middle class, upper middle class, who are threatened now with the project, they don't see beyond their environs or their building. I don't think they got engaged earlier. So we need to again mobilize the same set of people who think this river provides them livelihood because this river is their lifeline. And that is still possible. And that is where Bilal, that is where NAPM, and that is where all this Musi Jan Andolan is going to work. And I feel that's the right approach. Coming to scientific approach, as I mentioned again, we have been engaging on several fronts, including scientific part of it, even economics, ecological, all those arguments, and we have been doing that. The problem is the educated, the empowered, and those people are not coming consistently and sustainably to protect the river Musi, even though they know they are also affected. So the people today who are affected by river Musi degradation are not the people sitting on the bank. Everyone living in Hyderabad, they are affected one way or other. I have several points to make on that, but we are sure today every household in Hyderabad is affected by the degraded river Musi, but they are not realizing. They are not linking it with their ill health. They are not linking with their problems. They are not linking with their environments, and that's a problem. And that's where I'm saying we need to keep on connecting them, educating them, so that they come and a broader public opinion is generated for a river restoration. So I think these are the things which we need to focus upon. Thank you. I've stopped, Meera.
Mira, can I talk?
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, Sajjaka, please go ahead.
See, first of all, I think as Narasimha Reddy garu said and Lubna and others also said, see, people has to realize uh, what is going on, and our chief minister's uh, language is very intimidating. Even today also he mentioned in assembly that particularly about Madhu Park Ridge, it's going to be zero value. So once you are declaring in assembly like that, immediately people will panic about that. Whether Madhu Park Ridge is in buffer zone or uh, part of the river, that is different matter, because all the 450 residents are not responsible for that kind of violation. because they bought from somebody. So who gave those permissions in buffer zone? Who gave? What was the department? And see, entire, particularly in this Musi issue and the other issues also, many departments are working uh, on these issues, but nobody is taking any responsibility now. So whether it is GH Greater Hyderabad, the municipal administration, or urban planning, or some other department, but now people are paying the price. That is important. Where and immediately people will be threatened with this kind of language. I think we have to give a answer. Stop this kind of language first. Intimidating, this is intimidating. Definitely CM said people will listen and departments also listen. And uh, yeah, so uh, first thing, how to restore confidence in people along the river. Second thing, all these scientific and technical knowledge, and it is very important. Without understanding these technical issues, like whether it is STPs, or how to rejuvenate, or river ecology, it needs to be publicized. It needs to be discussed in public platforms. I think together we have to work, and whoever has capacities on issues need to work together. That is my point.
Yeah, thanks, Rajata. Anyone else? Friends, we are, I think, moving towards it's almost 9 o'clock. So we should wrap up in a couple of minutes. If there are any very quick comments. MG Nayagaru, do you want to speak?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
a small one or two points, just quickly I can.
Okay, yeah, briefly.
Yeah, good evening, Andy, and thanks the organizers. We are doing this and discussion on this burning topic. So I'm Professor M. Gopal Naik, Senior Professor of Civil Engineering, Usmania University, Department of Civil Engineering. So I'm working in this area in the river flow and urban floods and the last 15-20 years, and we are seeing a lot of problems. And this we can appreciate the government who have taken this project, and is that, but what are the challenges we have we discussed? They have identified the challenges, how to solve the problem, whether majorly treatment system, how it is working, what existing are there, what are the industrial productions and industrial generally systems, how it works, and waste management. These are three components which are plays a vital role in the avoid the mixing of these the blue water, gray water, and black water into the normal seawater. So how to minimize? We have not seen the single uh, time there is no desiltation of any nalas. So it is almost silting is there in the almost the 30% to the 30 to 40% of most of the nalas occupied, and the water, the present system, the STPs which are there working on that, their performance evaluation is less than 20%. Not at all working a single STPs perfectly, because I send a one team of my student, master student in the Nagol, and is here, because first 5 minutes it coming the gray water, and after that again same block water, whatever the water coming from the upstream nala, same it is releasing downstream. So the third party people who are involved in that, the government is monitoring, but the monitoration and the people working who are the end users or end maintenance people, O&M is not very challenging task. Lot of challenges are there. That is a major part. And industrial, because the on paper there are strong rules are there, ZLD system. Zero liquid discharge systems are there. As a task force members of the pollution board, and I'm visiting many companies, because then at the time whenever the committee comes, they will operate the ETPs. After that they close and again release directly to the nalas. So major nalas are polluted with the toxic metals and other non-degradable metals and materials and all black matter directly joining to the STP. So when the ETP, the biological treatment production, industrial production joining in the nalas and giving ETP, how STP will treat the biological treatment, and that same things are going into the river. So that river and actually the river, what is the cross section of the river from the Bapu Ghat to the Nagol Bridge, at least, because I have seen many people. I worked modeling in the SWAT model. My one of the PhD student work on this area, and the 4 MTech students. So there are somewhere in Chadar Ghat and some Golnaka, and there are the river compacted like just less than 50 meters, and this carrying capacity of the rivers is in the during the rainy season, it is only hardly maximum of 3 lakhs cusecs. So this, because if sudden, this is only about the extreme events, 1 or 2 less than 20 centimeter per hour or some. If suddenly, if repetitivity period of the events are extreme events are changing frequently, and that if sudden rainfall occurs more than 30 centimeter, 40 centimeters, 60 centimeters, then if sudden urban flood areas, total urban area totally converted into the impervious structure, or building Sinipole, the Neopolis and Kokapet and all areas are where agriculture land converted into the impervious, and all the floods will come to the river, and it increase the flood in the carrying capacity of the river. So what is the cross section of the river they are designing by this present proposal, and what the structure they are maintaining, and what are the how many the areas, bottleneck areas are there, what is the size of the river they want to build, and what the buffer they created. Okay, apart from the buffer they can create whatever, but what is the exactly cross section of the river from upstream to downstream, that should be the monitored in a exact accountable, in a exact cross sectional geometrical size is very important. And these joining the nalas, there are multiple nalas are there, major 9 nalas are there, minor some hundreds of nalas are joining towards that, and these all the drainage system also is joining towards along with the river. So how they manage that, what are the systems they can adopt for first to avoid these things. So first, parallelly, the planning should be required, just how to convert the black water to gray to the blue, and then the blue water carrying capacity from upstream to downstream. So these things, because I appreciate the Lubna, because she is madam, she's last 20 years she working on that. Narasimha Reddy Sahab and again Subbarao, many Purushottam Reddy Sahab, our professor was there. So many people are there involvement, they knows the some problem, ground problem. And last 10 years back, government implemented wet and dry waste from the inlet. So where has gone that? What is the solution where we reached that point of view? It is still questionable. So then treatment system, how many STPs are working with efficiency more than 50%? That is also questionable. So like that, many questionable things are there in this. So how to solve this problem, and to the rejuvenation is required, because the day by day whether everybody want to the good air, good weather, good water systems, but these are my certain concerns to discuss forum. So for this, sir, thank you for giving this small time to discuss it.
Drop your contact in the chat so that on behalf of the River Forum or Musi Andolan, we can be in touch. Yeah, thank you. Jeff, please just take 1 minute and make a very brief intervention. Then we have to wrap up. Yeah. These are my concerns, sir.
Thank you.
If we have a open forum, some discussion, I can give a presentation also, because I have a the brief studies modeling study also in that Musi River. Can discuss and that. Thank you. But
Jeff,
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yeah, but just a minute.
Quickly. Just a minute. Quickly, I just want to emphasize the need for if I could call it a rainbow coalition, coming together of all the groups in India who are dealing with all of these challenges in different fronts. In Kerala, in the last 6 months, because of Sahyadri Environmental Summit, some people from Karnataka were there too. A bunch of environmental groups came together and formed a document, a starting point, a charter, people's charter that approaches environmental concerns in Kerala, at least from a holistic perspective. Sea, from the river, from the hills to the sea, all of it in one document. We're trying to address it. It needs a lot of work. The biggest challenge from all the speakers, I missed a lot of it because of connection, seems to be getting the message to the people, whether educated, uneducated. Only the affected people are concerned, directly affected. Indirectly affected are not aware. So we are wondering, some of us younger people are wondering, how can we get the artists, can we get these people involved who are being heard by the rest of the country? Because the science talks, the data, all of it is not conveying the message and its severity. So I hope to collaborate with a lot of you. We hope to collaborate together with a lot of you. Please get in touch. How can we get the message across to the masses? How can we make a difference? How can we come together? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, please drop in your contacts in the chat in case you're already not in touch so that we can reach out to you. Santosh Bhai is already here, but I just wanted to, before going to him, request our three speakers if they have any concluding remarks. Vishali, Akhil and Bilal Bhai, अगर आखिरी में कुछ कहना चाहते हैं आधा मिनट 1 मिनट में तो प्लीज बोले and then we'll go to Santosh Bhai.
मेरा जी अभी तो बात पूरी हुई है,
हाँ
तो
जी.
और भी उसका समय जा रहा है, तो मेरे को अभी कुछ कहना तो है नहीं, क्योंकि अभी नरसिम्हा रेड्डी जी ने, दुगना सरवर जी ने और सभी साथियों ने, अखिल भाई ने, संजय अक्का ने, सबने बताया है। और तो बस मैं तो इसी यहाँ तक के सीमित हूँ और आगे बात तो ना नहीं। ठीक है,
ठीक है, संघर्ष जारी रहेगा। बढ़िया। अखिल?
जरूर।
Yeah, nothing much. I just wanted to say in my presentation also, I missed out that there is no transparency, RTIs are not working, and just this relentless loop of us being reactionary and the government accusing the people of not having full information and propaganda. That can only be solved if information comes out. So, yeah.
True. Vishali garu?
Meeraji,
Hello.
Meeraji, I just want to say something. Sharad Babu, just a second.
Okay, 30 seconds. But sir, we are really
No,
running.
not even 30 seconds. I want to organize one day interactive session somewhere in Rajendra Nagar. If that is,
అది మనం Musi group లో మాట్లాడదాం సార్ ఖచ్చితంగా.
I can host that. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that offer.
Yeah.
Great. Vishali garu, are you still there? You want to say something? Can't see you. Okay, we go over to Santosh Bhai now. Santosh Bhai, who's been part of the All India Rivers Forum and also active with the Pune. Okay, I see Vishali here. Okay, please go ahead. Huh. మీరు మ్యూట్లో ఉన్నారు, వినిపించట్లే. Can't hear you. Okay, that's a thumbs up. Okay, okay, great. Yeah, yeah. Over to Santosh Bhai. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, thanks, Meera, for coordinating all the thing, and it has been such a exciting and such a nice session. Basically, when I was in Hyderabad last year, I met Lubna ji, Vishali ji, and few others, and the issue has been boiling for quite a number of years now. Basically, I want what Jeff said about. I just want to update from the National Alliance for Climate and Ecological Justice. We are having a national conclave in Karwar from 26th to 29th of March. And Jeff, you will also be there. So there we are coming up with a plan for the Western Ghats. Like we have the NASA's chapters in Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Telangana. And during this conclave, we'll be forming the chapter for Kerala and Tamil Nadu as well, and a collective action for the Western Ghats. So that is one thing which I wanted to update to Jeff. And regarding the All India Rivers Forum, next month on 25th April, every month on 25th April, we have the meeting. Since we had this national conclave for NASH, this month we had it on 23rd, because most of us will be traveling on 25th. But otherwise, every month we have the meeting on 25th. So next month in April, as first I was mentioning that we need to bring somebody from Vishwamitri. So that is already being planned, Suhastai. Next month we have the meeting from Vishwamitri. We have 4 experts, activists from Vishwamitri for the next month on 25th April. Professor Neha Sarvate, then Rohit Prajapati, Dr. Ranjit Singh, and Jitendra Gauri. So everybody do make it a point, note it in your calendar. 25th April, we'll be having a talk on Vishwamitri, and they have successfully won they have been able to stop the riverfront development on Vishwamitri through the NGT process, and it will be really exciting to hear from them. Please, everybody be tuned with AIRF and do join, so that lots of interesting programs are coming, and the most important objective is to collectively fight the rights for rivers, the ecological rejuvenation process of rivers, and whatever the destruction that is happening on rivers at a pan-India basis. So we need to all come together and unite and have a united, strong fight. Thank you. Over to you, Mira.
Thank you, Santosh Bhai. It's been a long session, but we've had many comrades waiting in, and many have intervened, many didn't. I still know there are a lot of people who have many important things to say, but hopefully we'll hear from them in subsequent sessions. For instance, Usha, who's been talking about land
Just a second,
monetization.
just
Yeah.
1 minute, 1 second, Mira.
Yeah.
Regarding Pune River Revival, there are almost 15 participants from Pune River Revival who were in this meeting.
Great.
But yes, that's also again a long fight, and we'll be having a separate dedicated meeting for the Pune River Revival as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think it's important for all of us from across states to also connect with comrades from other states and struggles and listen, especially to the Pune experience, to the Gujarat experience, and see what are, of course, there are specific contexts, but there are also some commonalities, and it's important to understand the broader pattern and maybe the approaches that movements have been following in these states. So thank you, everyone. Prasad Garu, do you want to again come in? We are wrapping up.
Yeah, thank you for the last minute thing. I just want to touch upon
Mhm.
one thing. These are my 2 cents from my end. Let's involve international experts also on this, because they can tell the stories and issues related to this kind of things. The second point is, let's move this as a right rather than confrontational thing. We strike against them, demonstrate against them, so that at least they can publish the economic benefits of a taxpayer money. That way we can go with well-rounded 300 degrees sustainable approach to moving these forward towards sustainable civilization as a movement. Thank you. This is a great
Thank
meeting, by the way. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
hosting this.
Yeah, although I mean, in the movements in Telangana have also been raising the question of how should investment happen? Should so much of money be put into one white elephant and a commercial venture, which is being promoted by the state government, or should that money actually be spent on much more essential heads like, say, education, healthcare, housing, and other important aspects? So that is also an important dimension. We didn't look into that in much detail today, but there are lots of issues and lots of important things that are being raised by the campaign and the people's movements on the ground. So I think those questions will continue to remain. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We will keep the Zoom room open for 1 more minute. If anyone wants to drop in your contacts, please write down so that we can stay in touch. We also put in a link to a petition, an open letter to the Chief Minister that we are going to send it across shortly. So please do sign it if you haven't signed already. On the 28th of March, in fact, there is again information for two times it got postponed, but probably on the 28th or 2nd April, there is again an attempt to lay the foundation stone for Gandhi Sarovar. So that is another immediate timeline that we have, and we want more solidarity from all of you. So thanks to all of you. Thanks to Musi Jan Andolan comrades, the working group, the larger group, and thanks to NAPM River Forum and the Urban Struggles Forum and the comrades from other states who joined. See you all next month. Zindabad.
Zindabad.